Technology Devices Laboratory of Institute of Nanoscience and Nanotechnology is in collaboration with Sensor Malaysia. Okay, so before start the today's webinar, I would like to introduce our today's distinguished speaker, Dr. Thomas Ong. Dr. Thomas Ong graduated from Imperial College London. He is PhD doctorate research in solid oxide fuel cell ceramic materials for intermediate temperature applications. He designed doped oxides for cerium dioxide and optimized dosage of dopants proven to be relatively high performing when compared to the commercial ones. Stable oxides were firstly synthesized in all three solid state, wet chemistry, and as well as the combustion methods. He takes on the pioneer executive leadership towards the textile technology and innovation startup to now an established company. He multilingual and calm personality and had seen him leading the operation and strategical direction, including the short and long-term businesses, corporate strategies, and management. Notable successes in under 2 years include the push of nanotechnology in textile downstream industry and the race to a capital funding raises of ringgit 2 million worth of project and investment. PhD and research experience in material science and fuel cell doesn't stop him from providing a cross-functional management, strategical business direction, and supporting employee in a niche technology industry so differently from his expert portfolio. He redefined the company's organizational structure to lean the current and contemporary oriented company. He now holds the portfolio as a principal consultant in self-established consultancy firm that also specialize in consultancy, editorial, and direct-to-consumer e-commerce thrust. So, without any further delay, let's welcome our distinguished speaker, Dr. Ong, for our today's webinar.
Thank
Okay,
you,
the floor
Dr.
is for
Umar.
you, Dr. Ong.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. So basically, I guess everyone can see the screen. And I'm very delighted to be invited for this particular session by Prof. Azhar and her team. And the way I conduct my seminar or my talk, I definitely would welcome questions. And the way I do question and answer is not at the end of my presentation. At any point of time, you guys can nudge me by saying hello, excuse me, jab, 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 anything that you can just stop me and pause me right away. I can go down to listen to your question. As I am presenting full screen, I am not able to look at the chat box for now. I don't have my personal assistant to help me today. So I have to have you to nudge me using your voice, turn on your speaker and nudge me, pause me for a while, and I can accept your question then. All right? So let me start my presentation. So TS Commerce and Consulting is actually a self-founded company. It's a mirror and sister company of a TR Consulting in Australia. However, we belong to the same parent company and we operate in a very different manner. But the core structure of consultancy services remain the same as TR Consultancy in Australia. So today my topic is more about how to make your research business savvy. When I got first invitation from Prof. Azhar, I felt very delighted because this is I'm very passionate in making research business savvy. I guess I can share some of my experience later, how I was able to be very much exposed to the research, just like most of the students today that's attending today's seminar, lectures as well. I was in a R&D environment just like yourself. So maybe I'll just go through a bit of my background. So I was actually an R&D engineer in semiconductor industry back then in 2008, and I got my further studies opportunity to UK. And then right after I graduated, I had this opportunity to work with Ceres Power. It's also a fuel cell energy sector spin-off company from Imperial College, working hand in hand with a Japanese counterpart of the research group. When I got called back to Malaysia, I had this one request to myself that I wanted to be working in a firm that allows me to match the gap between the research and the industry. So in UK, I can only say from my experience, in UK, the languages, the gap between the research and the industry is very minimal. I do not know how to quantify the gap, but I can show you some of the statistics that the TS consultancy had gathered, just to give you a glimpse of what is actually the gap that is happening in Malaysia's research and industry. So Nano Malaysia Berhad, I am still there as a deputy vice president. I am now also the CEO and sustainability director of Nano Textile St. John Berhad, a spin-off of Nano Malaysia via Nano St. John Berhad. At the same time, I'm the partner, co-founder, principal consultant for TS Consultancy, Commerce and Consultancy in Malaysia. So throughout the presentation, it will be about 20 over slides. Is very communicative. The reason why it is very communicative is because I want all researchers to understand your role as a researcher, your role as a master's student or PhD student, postgraduate students assisting a research team in an established university just like UPM. So throughout my presentation, these are few terminologies that I wish you all can understand, because these terminologies could seem very general, but in my presentation, it might mean differently, all right? So first, research. Research, it means in my presentation limited today, it means all research that is done, not limited to research institutes, universities, and also in-house R&D centers. Meaning to say there could be some private entities, private St. John Berhad in Malaysia that has got R&D centers. Their research is considered as a research that receive services from TS Commerce and Consultancy. Okay, R gap means research gap. I'll define it later when I reach that particular slide. B gap means the business gap. RB gap means the research and business gap combined. On these terminologies on gap, I'll define a bit later. Investor. Investor means any party. It could be from the government, MOHE or MOSTI. It could be from the private entities who sponsors a research. So in my particular slide limited today, anything that gives the money to fund a research, regardless whether they are from the government or the private, it means investor, okay? Due diligence means it's actually part of our SOP that needs us to do investigation and exercise into making sure the business case that we are taking, the research that we are guiding are going to yield a reasonable business at the end of the day. Okay, tiers of research. Tiers of research actually directly relate to technology readiness level. I'm not so sure about this TRL. If you're not sure or you have been exposed with TRL, it means that it has got 9 to 10 TRLs in ensuring that your research or activities that you do are at the end of the day ready to be commercialized. So if you do not know what it means, you should start reading about TRL to ensure that whatever that you do in your research are all ready at the end of the day. Success in TS Commerce and Consultancy. Success, it means any approved or funded continuity of a completed research, regardless of your TRL, But once you have completed your research, if you get another funding, another approval to conduct the continuity of the completed research within 2 years, to us this means success. Okay, so we don't define success based on how many IPs have been filed, how many publications have been published, how many, what's the commercialization rate. No, these are all irrelevant to us, because we believe in providing customized business advisory and consultancy to ensure your research grow into a feasible business case. So our business motto is close the gap. All right. So all tiers of research, I do not care what level you are in, tiers of research, your readiness, as long as you are able to do some customized advisory to you to ensure that you bring your research to the next stage to ultimately become a real business case. This is our motto. Okay. So in Malaysia, like I said in the very beginning, TS Commerce Consultancy, although we mirror our sister company or parent company in Australia, in Malaysia, we have 4 business units. One is the D2C e-commerce. We capitalize the opportunity because nowadays everything is relying on e-commerce. So we want to capitalize that opportunities. But our direct to customer e-commerce platform is a very personalized platform, and it has got all support system there to ensure any brands or any products that had got its own unique selling proposition goes directly to the customers. Business advisory, we do tailored business consultancy. Editorial and communication, this we believe in ensuring that your research and your success deserves some right and correct readership and right audience. So we believe editorial and communication, this one does not involve any scientific publication. Okay, we don't assist you in your scientific publication. We assist you in your business and corporate communication. Okay, this is the different thing, because I understand a lot of students are all bombarded with the pressure to yield publication, scientific publication, review articles and whatnot, but these are not covered in our business unit. We ensure whatever that you have written is to assist your technology is friendly enough to be read by the public audience. Okay, and commerce and consultancy is something that I'm going to be discussing today. Again, very delighted with this opportunity. So what we do in each business unit, our D2C is more about going commercial. We have a unique e-commerce platform. We push brands to the regional and international market, and we allow distributions as well. And commerce and consultancy, I will not talk too much about it because I'm going to be talking a lot about number 2 later on. Editorial and communication, like I said, it covers non-technical articles. It's all about corporate strategy and communication, technology featurette, and commentary. In editorial and communication, we work with established media partners around the world to ensure that your research it could be in a minor, small laboratory in Seri Kembangan, Serdang, UPM Serdang, but your research would reach out to the international media readership through our service in editorial and communication. Business advisory is more about ensuring that your business readiness is there before we assist you further through our commerce and consultancy. So there's a lot of word here. If you ask why you are today in this particular session with us, with Prof. Azhar and the team, organized by ION 2, I think a lot of business consultancy is in existence in the world. Perhaps you could be very familiar with some of the brands that I have cited here. In Sweden, in the middle here, you can see Polygiene. Polygiene is more about reimagining product protection through a sustainability evolution. Do they have their R&D themselves? No, they rely on a very crunched consultancy firm in Germany and Sweden to assist them in scouting all the technologies around Europe and then push it to the market. Lululemon, I'm sure you have heard of Lululemon. Lululemon, along with some other sensor and battery businesses like Amphenol and Omron, they too are being assisted by Fever. Fever is actually a consultancy firm in the United States as well, assisting all these brands to enjoy the highlights and the advancement of research done in the universities to be then marketed and commercialized. India is also mushrooming for the past 2-3 years, minus the pandemic years. They had been ongoing and growing with their own brands and whatnot. Taiwan, their agriculture technologies are very prominent. They rely on YCP Solidians to assist them in pushing all these technologies to be taken up by the industry in Taiwan. So before I go further, let's look into several graphs that I have here. The first one is this is actually the research and business go-to-market landscape in Malaysia, okay? This is the graph that gives you some rough idea about what is the gap like according to the technology readiness level. If your technology readiness level is about concept, about a process, about a prototype, you could be a technology readiness level 1 to 3. But if your product is about cosmetic, solvent cosmetic that is very much ready for market, you could be talking about TRL 8 to 9. Okay, so looking into the gap, you realize prototype research. I'm not saying that prototype research is not good. All research comes from fundamental research. But in this particular graph, you know that the gap to go to the market is bigger compared to the TRL 8, 9, and 10. Okay? So that is why there are limitations to the mid-tier and the low-tier TRL research segment. Okay? The next graph tells you about the investment. Remember, I told you just now the word investor, the word investment. It means any parties that is willing to give you money to fund your research. All right. So the probability of investment per project, we capitalize and we realize a lot more investment go to the mid-tier fund, mid-tier that showcases some potentials, but not quite ready for commercialization yet. All right. But equally, TRL 9 and 10, you might be asking, why investment are not going into the very ready research? The reason why is that the very ready research are often very high tech. They need a very high investment in ringgit Malaysia or US dollar. But when investor comes in, they want quick returns. They don't. If it is too advanced, it's too techy, it's not business savvy. The investor would say that I will wait and see. I will wait and see. Okay, so hence why you realize that the trend is more about getting investor to invest their money and fund the research that is more in the mid tier. Okay. And last but not least, you see the return of investment, meaning to say we measure this success rate based on the positive research, the positive return of investment as per compared to how much have the investors been investing. Okay, so you realize normally the mid-tier TRL 6 and 7 and 9 and 10, these are all the positive ones, meaning to say because it goes to the market directly, you can start collecting all the revenues and you can start doing your forecast for the next launch and whatnot. However, you still get to see the negative return for a lot of fundamental research. Not to penalize the fundamental research is not good, but you have to then be able to sit with the consultancy firm and recalibrate your new gap, then you can start moving down to the TRL levels. Yeah. So a lot of, I believe there are some students, there are some lectures as well. So these are some of the questions that perhaps I'll give you like 10 seconds to look in if these are relevant to you. Have you completed your publications, your technology, and your scientific write-up? Have you done your financial forecast? A lot of research students that come to the consultancy firm, the research team, they do not know what is financial forecast. Like to them, it's a greenhorn to them to do a financial forecast. They don't understand what's financial forecast. License your technology. Have you licensed your technology? If your technology is something that you have patented, you have an IP, then the question is about, have you licensed your technology? And last but not least, who needs to fund me, correct? You have always had this continuity of research, continuously seeking investor, wherever, whether it could be from MOHE, it could be a grant from MOSTI, it could be facilitation fund from the agencies. These are all the consistent questions that you ask yourselves. Am I right? Right. So this is the funding mechanism in Malaysia. All right. You can see a small orange icons there in the middle. It's all about the continuous next funding hunting. So I would just want you to look into this particular graph and memorize and have a very good in-depth look into it. I'll bring you through to the next feature slides. But I do not want you to look into the series A, B, and C because today the target audience are research universities. I'm not talking to all the ready TRL SMEs and whatnot. All right. So the SMEs are all relying about their series A, B, and C investment. But for research students, you would get there if you are able to make your research a correct business case. But what I want you to look into is more about research. You are doing research done in all research institutes. You are part of the research community. You have a good research. And what next is about commercial, right? To be very honest, being a student, you can have the passion in doing whatever research that you want to do. But at the end of the day, whoever fund you the research, if it is from government, it's the taxpayers' money, it has got to yield some return. It has got to have some commercial success over there, all right? So I want you to also think ahead. Start thinking commercial, start thinking business savvy, because whatever that you do in your lab, at the end of the day, you need to sell. You need to have the continuity. You need to have the success. Understand? Again, what is success? It means you have to stop, completed your research, and you have to have the next funding coming in the next 2 years. That is how we calculate success. Analyze this commercial support. Commercial support, it means is in existence in Malaysia. A lot of universities have your commercial arm. Am I right? So UPM, I believe UPM is it UPM Holding, Sdn Bhd, or UP? I'm not so sure. I forgot which is. I think there are two firms, one looking into the intellectual properties and another is more about the commercialization part of it. So commercial support is number 6. So example is like the UMP Technologies and Sdn Bhd. This is the commercial holdings of UMP. You have your UScience, right? You have UScience. The UScience holding is the commercial arm of University Science Malaysia. And when that happens, you go to number 7, right? Number 7 is where you receive the funding and the grants, the sponsors, all right, from agencies, from the government, from the ministries and whatnot. The examples are the MTDC, Cradle, Nano Malaysia Berhad, and so on and so forth. And if you realize there is this one curve at the back, right? The curve at the back, it means how the obstacles, the kekangan, the challenges that you might be looking in when you want to bring your research to the next level. And if you're coming from a very TRL, very low TRL, you are bound to go into a valley of death. That's what they say. A valley of death before you see the limelight, before you get to convince one sponsor, one investor to refund your research. And you might be asking, where is number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5? Am I right? So number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5 is actually the gap. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the gap, and this is the common structure that you see in this particular slide. It's the common problem happening in UK. It's a common problem in Singapore. Is common in Malaysia. Sad to say, yeah. A lot of your research end up with IP, documented IP, intellectual properties, documented scientific research, pass over to number 6, your commercial arm, but it starts there. It doesn't go beyond, right? Because commercial arm in universities are requesting a lot more documents, a lot more justification, a lot more supporting information from you as the researcher. So hence why there is the gap, all right? So this is a statistic, very communicative. The research stated that 34% of all research done in Malaysia in 2018 until 2021, it only has got 34% that goes into positive progression, meaning to say the success, right? Only 34% research get funded for the next tier, for the next continuity. The others, 66, perhaps 66% are there lying. Perhaps the research team is holding back. The research team could be pausing because just waiting for the next funding opportunity, right? So it's a very sad, it's a very alarming statistic, you know. And Malaysia has recorded 4 times slower technology adoption compared to the Southeast Asian countries. If you look at the right-hand side from the industries, we have conducted survey from the semiconductor and electronic industry, and most researchers claim from these industries like Top Glove and whatnot, they claim a lot of research that is done from the universities are less relevant compared to that done in their own R&D facilities. Meaning to say, a lot of research that is done in universities, it has got its impact, it has got its value, but it doesn't serve, it doesn't address the issue that is in the industry in Malaysia. So there's a mismatch, there's a gap, all right? So hence why the gap that I want to show you today is about the research and the commercialization gap. If I can bring you into some of the left-hand side, your focus, your attention to my left-hand side. We have assisted a lot of business cases, multidisciplinary. It could be from chemistry, DNA, cosmetic, agriculture, and energy sector. The main R gap is because the factor of discontinuity, slow research progression. Like I said just now, only 34% that has gone into the continuity funding opportunity. We are growing 4 times slower. We are growing. It's not a good thing. When the number goes bigger, it's not a good thing. We adopt technology slower and slower per year, calculated per year. So we are now at 4.1, if I'm not mistaken, slower adoption of technology compared to Southeast Asian Malaysia. So on commercialization rate, it's all about licensing, right? Only like up to 20 to 30% research fail to deliver the industrial needs and specifications. Hence why the questionnaire really justifies, because a lot of industry R&D sectors says a lot of the research universities do research, but there is a gap. They cannot be upscaled. It cannot be adopted quite right away by the industry because of certain gap. So the gaps identified here by the industry are 4. Okay, lacking in your business acumen. The scalability, it could be technically, scientifically, it cannot be scaled up because all the research done is very lab scale, very small scale. So it's not even done in the bigger scale. So it cannot be scaled up. The pricing strategy, this one could mean your licensing, your IP strategy could be not sustainable. Your IP could be priced at a very high, whereby industry says look, I can do this partially myself at my R&D center, but your licensing rate, your licensing fee is too much to bear. So they say no. Okay. These are some of, and another thing is all about the forecast. Forecast is a chicken and egg issue because nobody says what is right or wrong. But if the forecast is not convincing enough, the industry would not want to take up the technology. All right. So this is where TS Commerce and Consultancy come in, right? So there is a gap between the research and commercialization, right? Like I said just now, I toss you one question. Where is number 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? So this is the gap that most of your research in the universities are not able to do, are not able to provide, and are not able to give to the commercial support of the universities, right?
Excuse me, doctor. I think so. There's one question, right?
Yeah, sure. Can I? Yeah,
So
go on.
can you open the mic and ask?
Hello.
Sure,
Good morning.
sure.
Good morning, Dr. Ong. Yeah. I have a
Hi.
question. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly clear.
Yeah. Can I ask a question?
Yes, definitely.
Right. Regarding the licensing, let's say
Yeah.
you write a song or the lyrics, you license it to BMG. It's very straightforward. Let's say for researcher, they have come up with a process to manufacture nanomaterials. So once they license it out, means you disclose your IP, right?
Exactly.
So how actually can we, protect at the same time you can license it out? Because once you
Exactly.
license, means you disclose everything to your investor, right?
Understand.
So nothing can be retained anymore, means it's fully released. That could be a threat. Yeah, they can pay one off at a very low price. Then after that, they use it fully lah. So
yes, they take it and go, right?
Yeah. Can you comment on that, please? Thank you.
Sure. So I have a very good example at the end, but if the question comes in, I can give you the answer here. What TS Commerce Consulting we have assisted back then is that at the end of the day, the research or the universities have to decide. Let's say you have one very successful advanced research. A part of it has been filed into an intellectual property, trademark, or whatsoever. And there's this uptaker from the industry that is willing to take your IP, right? So what TS Commerce and Consultancy come in is that we want to assist and understand your research as a whole. And we want to protect the researchers from having not to disclose everything, but only a portion of the IP. Because I believe research nature, you being the research or lecturer, you have to have continuous research. Am I right? So TS Commerce and Consulting, we at our SOP, we try to retain 75% of the research that is potentially done for the next continued research. 25% it can be filed into IP that can be then licensed into the industries, and we help to protect the first right of refusal. If there's any foreground technology that's going to be developed from the IP, it has to be getting some courtesy, knowledge, and consent from the researcher. Right, a lot of researcher in the universities, they do not know this strategy. They do not know that these can be done in this particular way. Perhaps a lot of researchers in the universities thought that licensing technology has to be done in a whole block. You need to license everything. No, we help you to define and segregate into what can be licensed into assisting and addressing the industry needs. The others, we have to keep it. We have to keep it for continued research, right? And some other case, we even assist company into joint venture with the industries, into making a spin-off company whereby the research or the universities is 60% or 70% interest of share in the XYZ Sembilan Berhad, for example. In this manner, your value or your research continues to grow in XYZ Sembilan Berhad, right? Without having to giving up anything into XYZ Sdn Bhd, because at the end of the day, you are still the owner of XYZ Sdn Bhd. You are also the director and shareholder of XYZ Sdn Bhd. If at the end of the day you are willing or you want to park whatever foreground technology that is going to be developed, you can even park into XYZ Sdn Bhd. Okay. So I think in a nutshell, I guess, I hope I have answered your question. There are many ways to disclose. There are many ways to license. There are many ways to work within the industry. So I'll share with you one business case, successful business case by TS Commerce Consulting later at the end of the day, at the end of the presentation. I believe so, yeah? Right. So if I may, I wish to continue, right? So number 2, 3, 4.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, sure. So number 2, 3, 4, and 5 is where TS Commerce Commerce and Consultancy come in. So in understanding your research, whether is it a business feasible case, is where we look into, number 2. And number 3, we facilitate and optimize your operational and financial processes in order to ensure that your research, whatever that you do, is actually worth a business case. Okay. And when you have a business case, you need a business plan and strategy. And the example that I've given just now is exactly happening at number 4, whereby we came up with one solution to this particular research in Malaysia to form a joint venture company. If I'm not mistaken, she is still holding a shareholding of 65%, being the major shareholder. And then start a business case working in number 5. Number 5 is more about handing over whatever that we have been engaged as a consultant, handing over back all to you as the research. You can fly with the industry, but number 5 is more about us hand holding you still with going together with industry. Okay. So if you realize that, if you look into the diagram, number 1 and number 6, there is a gap. There is a gap that is happening in UK, Singapore, Malaysia, all over between the universities and the industry. And I was so privileged to be working in the R&D environment back during my PhD years. I was able to look into the landscape in UK and in Malaysia. And this is how we have perceived, and we have used the same method all over again and assisted successfully universities going into the commercial. Okay. So like number 2, like I said just now, number 2 is our approach is understanding your business, understanding your research outcome. So you might be asking, why business? Why / research outcome? It's because TS Commerce and Consultancy, we do not assist only TRL 6, 7, 8, and 9. We also assist all the prototypes and fundamental research. So that's why we need to understand your research outcome. If your research outcome is a business case, so be it. You are TRL 8 and 9. We will assist. I have to understand your business and understand your what next potential. What next potentials for TRL 1 and 2 could be a continued research, in which direction and which area, right? This one, of course, PhD professors and research team, you know best because you are the expertise in this particular research. But for TRL 8 and 9, what next is often a very vague an area whereby you do not know, it's very potential, but you do not know how to build a business case. So here is where we come in. So when we again look into business ventures, you need to start looking into the business model. What business model that fits your research outcome? Is it something that is very like cosmetic products? It can be, B2C, or it can be a B2B. You are a supplier to a semiconductor chip, right? You could be licensing this technology for the manufacturers, right? So these are all the business model that we have to come in and assist you. And more often than not, these are all the questions that get often asked by your commercial arm in your universities, and yet you don't get to answer them. Am I right? If you are smiling now, means it is correct. It is happening, right? The commercial arm in the universities are perhaps not able to bridge the gap as much as you wish, yeah? Number 4 is more about kickstarting implementation. You have the ideation plan already. You have engaged TS Commerce and Consultancy coming in to help you think about the ideation plan. What's the best idea to do it forward? But now you need to execute it, right? You need to have the financial projection, your business forecast, your business acumen, your target segments. These are all the top 4 information that your investor asks. Whether it's Ministry of Higher Education, whether it's the Ministry of Science, Technology, or Innovation, whether it's venture capitalists, whether it is foreign private investors, they ask you, what's your financial projection? What's your business forecast? What's your business acumen? So this is where we come in to help you develop. And when it's completed, you pass on to your commercial arm of your universities, and they carry all these documents with you and get interested parties to talk about licensing or whatever business that you propose to do, right? And last but not least, is more about the comprehensive proposal. Like I said just now, you will use one template that we developed for you, and you are going to use this one template to talk to all financial investor for your next level, right? So again, investor here means whoever, you know, it could be your fund, your Ministry of Higher Education, it could be grants from agencies, governmental agencies, but you don't need to develop so many, because when you go through with 2, 3, 4, and 5 with TS Commerce and Consultancy, you will have this one particular financial proposal comprehensively done and use it all over again. If you get rejected by one ministry, you use the same to go to the next ministry. If you get rejected by this agency, government agency, you use the same one to go to the next. You do not need to develop all over again. All right. So our consultancy firm is very success driven. That's why that's why you get to see a lot of success rate. So going with our process, I'll just go through what we do. Is basically 3 processes when you engage TS Commerce and Consultancy. The first part is all about understanding your research, right? It's about gathering your information about your research, all right? And what is the potential? We will do our technology due diligence. We have our market segment consultancy as well as our partner to help us understand what is the market segment that you can tap on. And we will do research business proposal, RB proposal. So during this understanding your research, we don't charge even a fee. You know, we want to understand what you need. You know, we will give you ideations, right? We don't give you a contract to sign. We don't give you a letter of compliance to sign. So it's no fixed contracts. It's more about understanding your research and bringing forward. And when you sign an engagement letter in engaging us, and if the research group in Faculty of Science, for example, if some of the research group would like to engage TS Commerce and Consultancy, then we have this engagement letter. And engagement letter it gives us an opportunity to now go into the field and understanding your research and giving you a very independent feel of your research and what the business can go next. And of course, offsite report writing is all about what we provide you. And here is all about meeting projects and whatnot in ensuring that at the end of the day, we are able to generate all these financial instruments, business acumen, business forecast, and so on and so forth. And last but not least is all about handing over. We'll have one particular handover meeting that is conducted by us, giving you officially all the documented research. It normally would take about 3 to 4 months. Our parent sister company, TR Consultancy Australia, would come in as well. We will decide on what are the key deliverables for this particular research to monitor. And next step, most of our clients will start project with a lot of our with their investors, and later on we will handhold them until the end. Okay. So these are the slide whereby I think it's the last 4 slides. This is exactly, I think it's one of the business case that I think one of the lady had asked just now, right? I'll give you one example business case. All right, so this is a business case success story that we have done successfully for. I cannot reveal the university, neither can I reveal the research group, but this is a right business case that we have done. This product is an organic chemistry TRL 6 and 7. TRL 6 and 7 is not quite close to the commercialization yet, but is very much ready. Right? It is actually an organic extract from, I cannot name the species as well, because I guess organic chemistry is also very niched in Malaysia within all the universities. So these are the anti-aging application cosmetics. So we guided them in 2018, and in 2021 they had recorded a 700,000 ringgit in their second year operation alone. So we have guided in when they firstly engage us, then yes, we go through the process of 2, 3, 4, and 5. So what happens at 2 is because we understand they have these active organic materials. They prepare them and extract them in using a non-patented methods. So their process is not a patented technologies, but their organic material is something that they have found to be very good in anti-aging, right? So the gap, we understand that the laboratory production of their active materials need to meet a medium. They need to have a water-based binder, right? But this binder is also non-patented as well. It's not something that they create their own binder. They can commercially buy available, right? So the next plan is to look into how to match the binder production, how to then give a quick laboratory startup into making sure that they retain the formulation, but they can start producing, they can start engaging OEMs to then bottle it in and selling, right? So number 3, our business approach is to investigate this research business feasibility. So in number 2, we realized that, oh, it can happen. It really sounds perfectly logic to do. And when then we dive into it, we started realizing that, yes, this business venture is definitely doable. And the money that comes from whoever that would like to fund the initial part of it can then be a feasible business when it starts to expand. So we then have to develop the operating business expenses, financial forecast, financial projection, and whatnot, with the associated Ringgit Malaysia. Of course, we understand a startup by it gets compliant to the universities. I think research universities is compliant to certain protocols. So we understand that protocol. We develop that operating and business expenses accordingly, right? We don't go ambitious, we don't say like you need 5 staff members, you need 6 sales members. As a startup, it just doesn't make sense, right? So going by the protocol, going with what we have, we develop that business case. And then later is more about getting this execution, right? We have this plan, we have this ideation, now is to execute it. And when you want to start executing, you need to find potential market segment. Here we are guiding a research team who is not a business background, helping them to understand what are the target segments and to run in first 5 years. If you want to be successful, here you are looking into these business cases together. And this is the current outcome. We have proposed them a complete proposal. It was a complete, comprehensive one. And internally, for continuous funding, they have gotten it as well. We have also handed over the proposal to their commercialization arm to take over from us, but we were still hand-holding them to justify some of the proposal key statistics. The outcome, they have already had the accurate business forecast. They now are even in partnership with the OEM bottling and packaging company. So like I said, the research team, she holds like 65%, The investment come in from the OEM bottling packaging company because they see the accurate business forecast. They feel like this is an opportunity that they do not want to miss. They do not just want to provide bottle, they want to be in this company as well. So they now has got a joint venture, XYZ, I cannot name the name myself. It's called XYZ Center Mahat. The research, she is also the major shareholder and the director, and the OEM bottling packaging in Sungai Buloh. The CEO is also one of the director in this company. So yeah, we have assisted this particular company. So to answer back the question that I've gotten just now, did the research reveal all the formulation? No, because we help them to protect the formulation. Did she get to do a very feasible and successful business? Yes, she is now in a business. Yeah. Did she retain some of their research to be continued, to be advanced, to be researched further? Yes. Only a portion of it is dumped into the XYZ Syndrome Berhad. Others, she can continue to be a researcher, she can continue to be a lecturer, she can continue to assist postgraduate students to keep on going and find a new active materials, right? So to answer your question, yes, it is feasible, and no, you don't need to reveal all in bulk to the interested party, all right? So why us? So TS Commerce Consulting, we are featured in the Smart Company and the Business Builders, coaches, and we have a proven outcomes. Like I said, we don't have contracts. It's only after step 2 when then you realize, yes, this is something we can offer, we can assist. Then only we have this one engagement letters. And we are very personalized. We understand all of your technology research are varying in nature. You can be in agriculture, you can be in sensor, you can be in energy storage research, you can be in DNA, you can be in biological research. It's very personalized. So we don't say that, you go by our template, this is what we provide, take it and go. No, we understand your research comprehensively. And if you want to engage other consultancy who is in the market in Malaysia, who is only interested in TRL 9, then yes, our pricing is definitely competitive. Like this research, yeah, this business case, I think it only costs her and her research team 11 to 13% of the overall funding of her project. Okay, I repeat that it's only 11 to 12%, if I'm not mistaken. If the project of the funding that she proposed and got approved by the ministry is about 100,000, for example, then it only costed her 11,000 to ES Commerce Consulting to make sure that, and now she's earning like 700,000 every year, for example, right? So it's very competitive, and we don't charge for the sake of charging. We assist. I think it all goes back to my nature. Like me, I've been in all the R&D environment in a lot of countries, and I want to bridge the gap. So knowing I'm a Malaysian, I know Malaysia, I want to help Malaysian research going to the market. So hence, I think the passion in me really drives me into ensuring that, whatever services that TS Commerce and Consulting can give, we will give. So our partners, we have our Legal Vision, Accent. You've heard of some of this financial group. These are all our partners. We can just ask them to provide us certain data, certain statistics, certain market research. We are able to get it right quite away. So just some end note. I think one way to think about challenge and opportunity is like thinking telephones, right? Back then we used telephones that are not even touchscreen. And moving forward 10 years after that, it has got so much more functionality. It connects us, it protects us, and it informs us, right? So it's time to change our needs. So what I want to toss back to all the favorable attendees today is that, start looking into your research. Number one, start learning about your TRL, start knowing your TRL. Second, do a research for a purpose. Start doing your research for a purpose. Like it or not, your research needs to have the success, right? Again, I repeat, success doesn't mean that you have to commercial the next day you complete this research, right? The success, it just means that you have to have the continuity within 2 years, right? If your research is very commercial ready, so be it. But if your fundamental, your concept and prototyping is okay, but ensuring that you have the success and start engaging people who understand your research and the industry to assist you in bridging the gap between number 1 and number 6. Start engaging consultancy and a firm to assist you in number 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right. So these are just the 3 reminders. So I end my presentation here. You can contact me in this particular email. Our Australia counterpart is at consultancy.com.au. Our tsconsultancy.com.my is still in the process of, doesn't go live yet, so you don't get to email me through that, but you can reach me at my personal email and other of my portfolio emails. I don't have a QR code for you because I understand that a lot of you would want a very personalized consultation, but just send us an email or TS Consultants will get back to you shortly. All right. So thank you.
Okay.
I hope if there are anything that you wish to ask, very burning question, please do let me know.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ong, for your valuable presentation and your experience. Now our forum is open for Q&A session. So a participant have any question, they can ask directly to Dr. Ong now.
Yes, I am multilingual. I can answer any questions that's in Malay, in English, in Mandarin.
Okay, so you can ask as per your convenience. So I cannot see any answer in the chat box. So I wish somebody can ask. So any question from the audience?
So if you don't have question, maybe I will ask some question. I just want to ask, like, is this still very much relevant within you guys? This one. Is this very relevant to you guys nowadays?
Yeah.
Are you all smiling and are you nodding, or are you afraid to answer because your lecturer, your supervisor is in this seminar too?
Okay. Oh, Doctor, actually, I have one question in the chat box.
Oh, okay, sure.
From Ms. Siti Zulekha. Hi, Doctor. Have you consulted any deep technology research so far?
Yes. Deep tech. Maybe
Yeah.
you can you define what's deep tech? Is it like fundamental research or whatnot?
So is it okay if Dr. Siti Zulekha can ask directly to Dr. Ong now? Can you open your mic to clarify your question further?
Yeah. What do you mean by deep tech? Like, what do you mean by deep tech? Is it fundamental research? Okay, I'm gonna just hi.
Hi, Dr. TS. I want to know the examples of deep technology such as in oil and gas technology, for example, like in drilling.
Oh, okay. Right. So we only have done few. One of it was a deep tech in medicinal, but we only stop at 01 at step 1 because when it's very deep tech, it's very goes well with a lot of fundamental knowledge, and a lot of these researchers, I think professors, they know better than us. Who are we to come in and say that what you should do and what you shouldn't do, correct? So, but they do like to talk to us to understand a little bit more about what next. Sometimes some of the research, some of the professors are quite business minded. So although they have TRL 1 and 2, but they are thinking about assuming that they can successfully do it until TRL 8. So what's next after TRL 8? That kind of professors. So we have spoken to some of these kind of professors who are very much business oriented as well. But again, to answer your question, they don't engage us in particular manner to assist them in directing them what is the next research direction, but more about understanding the business landscape. Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Oh, you're welcome.
So is there
Actually,
any further?
TS is, I mean, my name is Thomas, but TS Consultancy is not named after me.
Okay.
Dr. Umir, I have one question.
Yeah, sure, Doctor. No problem.
Hey, Prof.
Thomas, thank you so much for sharing with us. I just have a very direct question. If it is possible for you to reach us with like Petronas, because I know
Petronas.
if we have research on oil and gas related categories. So if you have any experience with whatever
Petronas.
PRSD or Petronas itself,
or any oil and gas, am I right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. For now, to be very frank, we are not working with Petronas. We did have inquiry from Schlumberger. But I'm not sure about Schlumberger, but Petronas do have their own R&D. Am I right? So I'm not so sure how different is the research done by UPM or ION as per compared to their research. And you get what I mean? So to connect, perhaps I definitely can connect, but ensuring that once it's being connected, you are able to show your value as per compared to their R&D. Why you need to work with us. Ours are more superior, ours are more advanced compared to your Petronas R&D. This, I think, perhaps your team would have to do some research. Go to their website and find what their research directions are, or whether or not if their research directions are similar, whether or not you all are doing the same thing, or yours are more advanced. This one, I think you all have to start researching first. My personal advice. But Schlumberger and BP Oil, BP Petroleum, they are not like Japanese, but however, I do have a feeling that they are very close innovation. They are very closed door innovation. So even there is a connection, I'm just afraid that they are the only ones that is asking, hoping to get your disclosure. But at the end of the day, they don't disclose. You get what I mean? So they work like a very closed door innovation.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. But definitely we'll keep this topic open, Prof. Definitely, maybe in future, who knows, there could be inquiries from Petronas, and then definitely we'll connect back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Ong. Is there any further question from the participant, from the audience?
So I'm not so sure, like UPM Holding, is it or UPM Holding the commercial arm in UPM? I mean, it's a question to perhaps Prof or whoever lecturers who have gotten any engagement opportunity with working with UPM Holding. How has the I would ask how's the working relationship like? Do you feel the gap from them in understanding your research?
Okay, Thomas, I'm smiling right now. So I don't have the capacity because probably my information, my knowledge
It's
on that
limited.
matter is limited. So I don't know whether we have among the participants who can answer that.
I see. Yeah, I think not to undermine or not to undermine any commercial arm in the universities. I believe they exist for a reason, right? And perhaps they do what they do. Perhaps it's just that a mismatch, or there is no bridging in ensuring they understand more and better. We might want to pray that, if only he or she from the commercial arm could understand more and better, so that they can push our technology quicker and further, right? So that's why I think there's a gap between number 1 and number 6 that is in existence in Singapore, Malaysia, and all over countries between the universities and with their in-house commercial arm. There is already a gap, but here we are. We understand, because I'm also from the research background. I'm also have been in the industry for many years, so I understand the gap that needs to be addressed. So yeah, I think if anybody would share, then yeah, then definitely. But if there is none, then never mind.
Okay. Okay. If no any further question, so thank you so much, Dr. Ang, for your very knowledgeable presentation and all the experiences to sharing with us. So now we are going for the photography session. If you can, all the participant can open their cameras. So Mr. Ali, can you assist us to take a pictures? Can you open your mic, Mr. Ali?
Okay, please open your camera because not so many open their camera.
Okay. Can you give them few seconds to open?
Yeah.
It's okay if some of you are shy, camera shy, right?
I think so.
Yeah. I am camera shy, but the one taking my picture now is not camera, it's the laptop. So
Yeah.
Please open your camera.
Yeah.
We give around 1 minute
Or I mean,
because not so many
10
open
seconds
their
should be
camera.
enough.
give them 30
If
seconds.
someone doesn't want to open the camera, they do not change their decision at the 59th second.
Yeah.
If there is no one wanting to open their camera, it means it won't open the camera.
Okay. I count 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay.
Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum.
Okay, once again. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you so much for all the participants and especially for our today's presenter, Dr. Ong,
Sure.
and all our lecturer who attended today's webinar. Hopefully, we will have some more webinar in future also as well. So thanks for everybody and good afternoon.
Thank you.
Yeah. Have a nice day.
Dr. Thomas. Terima kasih.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof.
Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please fill up your attendance form to get your e-certificate.
Yes, don't forget to fill up the form.
So where Where is the form?
In chat
Form
box.
in the chat box. In the chat box. Can you
In
check
chat
the
box.
chat box? The link is there.
I should check the what?
Chat box.
Chat box. Chat box.
Where the checkbox?
Oh, on from your right side. Can you see? There's the icon of the chat. Can you click on it? And then you can
I
open the
didn't see.
chat box.
I did not see.
Oh. Mr. Ali, can you help him?
Hello, I didn't see the.
Actually, on our right side, we can see you. I can find it. Chat box on the right
No, I
side.
saw it. I saw it.
From the bottom. Yeah, from the bottom side. Yeah. When you click, you can find the link there.
I saw the link. I saw the link.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay, okay, good, good. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone.
All right.
Have a nice day.
I'll excuse myself already. So thank
Yeah.
you so much for having me. Bye bye.